Hey y'all, my reactors, welcome back. Welcome back. So we talking about women of the Bible, and we talking about Sapphira, a lost opportunity for the truth. In the early days of the church, individuals, believers occasionally sold property and voluntarily brought the proceeds to the article to be distributed to those in need. During this time, selfishness, a longing for recognition, and deceit entered into the hearts of Sapphira and her husband Annas. This couple sold a piece of property and then decided to keep part of the money for themselves and give part of it to the church. That would have been fine, but they wanted the articles and the other believers to think that they were giving all the money. This couple agreed to lie to the church, and doing so, they ultimately lied to God. When Sapphira's husband approached the obstacles with the money, the Holy Spirit exposed his heart to the obstacle Peter. As a result of his evil intent, Annas died immediately. 3 hours later, Sophia arrived, not knowing that her husband's death. God led Peter to question Sapphira, giving her an opportunity to speak truthfully. But Sapphira chose to perpetrate the lie, and like her husband, this resulted in her immediate death. Sapphira placed more confidence in her husband's evil plan than in God. What could have been a blessing to the church turned into a disaster. The deaths of Sapphira and her husband shocked the church. God showed them all that he would not tolerate dishonesty in a relationship. A woman's relationship with God and her husband should be based on integrity and commitment. She is to respect her husband and agree to godly decisions. She is not told to submit to ungodly or wicked schemes, especially ones that will cause her to be untruthful. It is important for her to keep the marriage covenant, something ordained by God. More important, she is always to keep her covenant with God, never willingly putting herself in a position to break that covenant. If by chance she finds herself faced with an ungodly decision made by her spouse, she should speak the truth in love so they can grow together spiritually. Now we're moving on to Candace, secure leader. Just as Pharaoh was a reference to the king of Egypt, Candace was the title given to the queen of Ethiopia. This queen was perhaps a successor to the queen of Sheba. As a ruler in Ethiopia, the area known as modern Ethiopia, but an area in what is now southern Egypt and northern Sudan, Candace led one of the oldest African nations. Eunuch, the fiance chairman of Candace treasury, and obviously a person who was attracted to Judaism, has gone to Jerusalem to worship. As he was returning home, he sat in his chamber reading and trying to understand the writing of the prophet Isaiah. Philip, a Christian believer led by the Spirit of God, came along and explained to him the scriptures and the good news about Jesus. The fact that this man was allowed to go to Jerusalem to worship speaks volumes about Candace's leadership. The eunuch's understanding of the scriptures was paramount to his ability to manage the financial affairs of the queen. With greater understanding, he could put his life, and his job in a proper perspective. The queen benefited from the spirit of her finance chairman. Believing to God enabled him to deal fairly with others and thus enhance the integrity of the kingdom. As a result of this faith, the eunuch could be long-suffering and kind to those he met. It is quite possible that his strong faith and belief were qualities the queen recognized and applauded. She possibly looked beyond his managerial capabilities to his heart, and she found a man compassionate and loving. She sought and found an individual whom she could trust because he worked to please God first and others second. Candace was confident in who she was, so she did not feel threatened. Sit down! Threatened by the English service to someone else. Because of her confidence, it's likely safe to say that many in the area of ancient Ethiopia and beyond know Christ today. Imagine what would have happened if she had not been a confident leader. She may have tried to suppress her treasurers. The story then would have turned out much differently. Hold up, y'all. Bye, y'all.